Hey guys, never stop dodging yesterday, and we're going to be taking a look at the best team you can make for Fusion Warriors this week. Last week we went into Saiyans, and this one we are going to be taking a look at Fusion Warriors. Mainly the Fusion Warriors that buff Fusion Warriors with their Z ability, and we're going to be taking a look at the leader slot later on, so we'll get into that then. But for now, as you can see, there's not too many Fusion Warrior units with the Fusion Warriors ability. Like, we have all these bunch of ones like Omega Shenron, Fusion Zamasu, Cup, Fusion Zamasu and whatnot, but these are the main ones you want to use in the Fusion Warrior team. And I've got to say, it is a handful of a selection for some typing. Like, as you can see, there's only 2 blue units here, there's like 4 greens and whatnot, so it's not the greatest amount you can select, but it's still a very solid team, mainly because you have these really strong forms that you know will destroy in PvP, like Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, Vegito Blue. Like, those are 3 very powerful forms, which you know when they are released they are going to be strong. But for the first unit, I have to say Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta should be the main unit you bring to most teams. I wouldn't necessarily say in this meta it's very good to bring a lot of green units, but he's really good for when the tag Goku and Vegeta swap into Vegeta, because he will then decimate that Vegeta. And overall, he's just a very good unit. We know that his stats are really good. He has a pretty good kit, and you mainly want to have it so that he has this equipment here. This platinum equipment just makes him one of the best LFs in the game, and it's not even ridiculous how good it makes him. So that's a really good one. This platinum equipment you want to get as well is just really good, and I'd either say get one of the defensive ones. Where is it? I think this one is really good as it gives a bunch of defenses. This one, and if you want some more HP and some damage to Hyper Saiyan, this one's really good. But yeah, for the main green unit, definitely run this dude if you've got him. Like, he is just a real fun unit to use, so I have no complaints with that whatsoever as our first unit. If you don't have this Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, maybe use this Kepler. She's still pretty decent to this day. She can do quite a lot, and she's a pretty annoying unit to come across, but she's not as good as when she first came out and when she was in her prime. And if you don't have them two, then I'd probably say don't even use a green, because Super Gogeta is the worst out of all of these probably. Zenkai Gotenks ain't too bad, but still I wouldn't recommend it. He's not the greatest to use. So yeah, I'd probably recommend doubling up on some yellow units or whatnot. But for now, those are the main 2 green units you should be using. If you have Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, use him. If you don't, then use Kepler. So yeah, that's for the green unit. For the yellow unit, I honestly say is a very tough choice. Like, it's whatever suits you really. It's between Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta and Marjube. Honestly, 2 very good units, especially in this meta. Gogeta Blue, like, cancelling cover chains, making it so that he can just do a ton of damage to mono purple teams, and he could get rid of like endurance units with his ultimate, and everything is like ridiculously good. Marjube, with his endurance, he is pretty damn reliable. His heal on his main ability, his overall very good kit just for your team in general makes him a very solid option. But for me, it has to be Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta. He just does too much for me this season. Like, it's so powerful with his cover changing nullification, and just in general, he's a fun unit to use. If you get that green card going on the tag Goku and Vegeta while they're in Goku's form, like, he's pretty much done. He's not gonna survive. So yeah, he's a very fun unit that you should definitely make sure that if you have him, you'd want to use him, or Marjube, because it's just too good of a choice. Like, look at the options he has for Awakened Equips. Is ridiculous. He has all these. I'd recommend this one, as he does need a little bit of defense to help him out, but he doesn't need a crazy amount. So my 3 I tend to go for is I give him this one, I give him this one, and then I try to give him something that has a bit of strike attack and some defense, like this one. Maybe this one if I'm feeling defensive, but yeah, those are, you want to make sure this one's a given for him, because it gives him I'm pretty sure you can give him strike attack and some defenses if I just check. Yeah, you can get the last slot of strike attack and then both the defenses at like up to 18%. That's pretty darn good for him. So yeah, Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta is the yellow unit I would highly recommend during this season. He is a very good unit against like mono purple teams and just in general. So that's it. And make sure, as I said, if you don't have him, Marduk is a very solid option. Like, he's just as good as him, this man, if not better in some other people's opinions. But yeah, those are the two main yellows. This Vegito, he's decent, but he doesn't really do much nowadays, and we don't even speak about Gotenks. And now for the blue, it's very tricky because you only have two options here, and one's a Zenkai and one's a LF. Vegito does do well because he can just like, he hurts endurance units quite a lot because I think he reduces like their health restoration, so that if you get a bunch off with the strike attacks on them and you take it so that they go back to their endurance, I believe there's some situation where you can get up to 1 health and you can just tap him after. So that's pretty darn useful, and also he can hit pretty hard at high stars. I would say if you're going to use him, he has to be minimum around 7 stars. If you don't have him 7 stars or not, I would highly recommend using Disco Gogeta. He's still good, but Disco Gogeta has been forgotten. Like, I haven't seen his Zenkai come back since his initial release. I've been waiting for it as well because I thought, you know, I'd pump some crystals into him, get him to like Zenkai 3 at least, because mine's still at Zenkai 1, but honestly, he's a pretty darn solid option. So in my case, I'm gonna go for Vegito Blue, mainly because this dude just had a return for me and I have him Zenkai 1. But if you have him Zenkai highly, I'd recommend using him. But for me, it's Vegito Blue. I just think this dude, the way he just makes it so that the endurance units kind of get hurt if they get hit by him is pretty ridiculous. And he also got that long combo that makes it so that he get like a billion strikes off in a row, so that's always fun. And then his cover change is useful. He does a ton of damage depending on like what type you're up against and whatnot. So yeah, he's pretty darn useful. And his green card is actually pretty darn good. It like can remove the enemy's attribute upgrades twice. That's pretty darn useful when you just want to shred some opponents. So that's, yeah, I'd say he's highly recommended. If you want to go for like a very defensive setup with him, this is a really good equipment for him, this platinum equip. There's a ton of other ones you could give him. This one, I think maybe if you want to go for like more strike attack, you could bring him this equip and this equip. It's this will be decent if you got God Key. Like, a lot of these awake equips are really good. Like, this one is really good, but you have to get rid of like blast attack or defense, I believe. So yeah, I think, is it? I'm not too sure from the readings on here, but I know that one, I think the strike attack goes up and then the blast attack goes down the higher the percentage. So it's not really the best if you want someone who can do some blast damage as well, because I feel like Vegito Blue can do a decent amount of blast attack, but it's mainly a strike attack that goes crazy. So just give him some equipment that gives him a lot of defense or a lot of strike attack and you'll be set for this dude. Okay, now for the red unit, I think this is the one that had the most options, but not the most options at the same time, because the main two you want to use is either Zenkai Super Gogeta or Super Saiyan 2 Kepler. I feel like it's a given you want to use Super Gogeta. Like, I'm gonna say he's the main red unit you want to use pretty much all the time, especially if you have him. I have him Zenkai 5 and I find him a very solid unit for it. So if you have it Zenkai 7, which is a pretty easy option now that he's been added to like the Ultra Space Time Rush medal section in the exchange shop, he is gonna be doing fantastic for you at Zenkai 7. So yeah, he is very good. Kepler, I actually really like Kepler. She's a Septon unit that just didn't get love because of her weird kit. I believe it's the section where she gets like banished back if they banish the attacks. Let me have a look. So look, it's this one here. So after the enemy avoids her attack, she regains 60% of her banish scores twice, which throws a lot of people off when they're using her, because it's it is a very weird mechanic. Like, you get rid of their vanish and then you get your vanish back. It's like, okay, that's something pretty new, but she's not a bad option at all. I'd say she hits really hard. If you've been playing since she came out during the 3rd anniversary, you could have a high start, which I do. I think I have her in like the red 2s or 3s, and she hits so hard. So yeah, she is a great second option. But if you have the Super Gogeta at Zenkai, like, to be honest, you could have him at Zenkai 3 and higher, and he'd still perform really well for you. So yeah, make sure you prioritize getting this dude Zenkai and make him a staple unit for your Fusion Warrior team. The other red units, like this Gotenks, it was just unfortunate because Zenkai Super Gogeta would always replace this dude. He is not too bad, like, he's not too far off Kepler, but he's just not really the ideal unit for Fusion Warriors nowadays. Like, if you got Zenkai, would probably be the best out of all of them, but we'd have to wait until that happens, so not too bad. And this Vegito, honestly, I'm gonna say this now, have him on the bench because his Z ability is too good. Where is it? At 40 stars, which most of you should have if you've done the event. It came out a couple years ago, and I'm pretty sure they bring it back regularly. So yeah, make sure to work on that. But plus 40% to Fusion Warrior strike and blast defense. That is ridiculous on its own. And then plus 20% to Vegito's strike attack. So it's probably one of the most strongest Z abilities in the game, and nothing else comes too close other than, like, I don't know, Goku or something who gives like strike attack and health. But yeah, this is a very ridiculous Z ability that you want to buff your Fusion Warriors with. Just this one alone does enough for like the bench, and then you have Vegito getting more attack. So yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous. So I'd say he should just be your other unit on the bench, just buffing up everyone there. And then for purple, now this dude came out with a Zenkai that you could have gone for free. If you got him for free to Zenkai 7, he is your main unit. Like, I'm saying right now, he is fantastic. I got him to Zenkai 7 for free, and he fills every role I want him to more than enough, and I've got nothing to complain about. They even made it so that you can get 1800 Z power from him, so I got him to, I think, red 1 from that, and it's absolutely ridiculous. This dude has one of the most broken Z abilities as well, where he gives plus 40% to strike attack and defense, and then plus 12% to max base health at 14 stars. But sadly, I don't have him at 40 stars. But a lot of people do. It's just that I have not pulled him as much as I would have hoped since the 1st anniversary. So yeah, he is a very good unit now that he's got a Zenkai, and he's got these platinum equips, which are very good. This one especially for Fusion Warriors can just give a ton to like everything. If you take a look at it, like, look at this, you get a max of 6% blast attack for each Fusion Warrior, 8% strike and blast defense for each Fusion Warrior, more ultimate damage and more strike attack when cover changing for 15 time again. Like, those are all really good. So considering you're going to be using him on a Fusion Warrior team, it's a very good equipment. And then this other platinum equipment, great as well. And then I'd probably say either give him this one, this equip, or something defensive like this Battle of Saiyans one or this Kepler one. Both very good in terms of adding like more defense and everything, and just make it so that he's gonna be even more annoying to come across, especially in this season where Mono Purple is like a ridiculous team to come across. You see him pretty much on every Mono Purple team with the Goku and Vegeta, because I believe his Zenkai ability, is it down here? I think his Zenkai ability gives it to Purple Saiyans in general, which is ridiculous. Let me click. Oh, I screwed because I need to click on it. Then we should be able to see it. Yeah, Purple Saiyans, which is ridiculous. So they would have wanted to make it Purple Fusion Warriors or something, but they made it a generic one. So there's like about 3 Purple Saiyan buffers that are Zenkai units as well. So it's ridiculous that he did that. But yeah, he is a very solid unit. If you haven't got him 7 stars or Zenkai, definitely use Super Vegito. Like, well, not Super Vegito, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Vegito. This dude is still very powerful, and as once again with the Kepler, since the 3rd anniversary, there's been quite a lot of times where you've had chances to pull him. So I can imagine if you've been playing a lot and summoning a lot, you probably got this dude high star, so he's a defo purple unit you want to be using if you don't have him Zenkai Awakened or anything, so make sure you do that. And other than that, I believe that was the team. As I said, I was going to be talking about the leader sub, but this is kind of the ideal setup where you have the 60 units you want here, all like buffing up the team as much as possible, and with the equipment I showed you to add them, it's like the ideal setup in most cases. So yeah, if maybe you didn't want to bring this Vegito, you could maybe bring another unit that gives a ton of you could even bring Marjube, because I believe Marjube has a pretty ridiculous ability at 6 stars that is pretty darn good for just the whole team as the leader unit, and he'd be very solid. Fusion Warriors will get a strike and blast attack, so plus 40% to that, and then Fusion Warrior and GT will get plus 50% to strike defense, which, or if he's in the leader slot, he'll just give that to everyone, which is pretty darn useful, getting that extra defense going. So maybe do that. You could bring this Zamasu now. If you don't have Zenkai Super Vegito, Zenkai Awakened, or you don't have this Super Saiyan, God Super Saiyan Vegito, High Star, or even have him, definitely run Fusion Zamasu if you have him Zenkai Awakened on as the leader. He will be the proper unit you want to use. He is very good, and given that you could have got him for free, and you can still get him if you didn't get him for free in the Ultra Space Time Rush medal section in the exchange shop, he is a fantastic unit. So make sure you use him if you need to. And yeah, that's pretty much the ideal setup. Just use pretty much any of these units here. Vegito Blue, Gogeta Blue, Super Saiyan 4, Gogeta, Super Vegito if he's Zenkai Awakened, Vegito as the bench unit, if not, have Marjube, Fusion Warrior, not Fusion Warrior, Fusion Zamasu, okay, and either this Vegito or Zenkai Super Vegito. Those are the main units you want. And other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed. If this helped you kind of figure out what kind of Fusion Warrior team you'd like to use or like to work towards in the future, and try and get like the equipment for the ones I suggested, I'd say it's pretty darn good, and I hope I helped you. And other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button. If you want to see more in the future, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.